Well, the New York Times admitting it doesn't just understand voters of faith very much. The paper's executive editor saying it flat out failed to recognize the role that religion played in getting Mr. Trump elected.
I think that the New York-based and Washington-based, too, probably, media powerhouses don't quite get religion. We don't get religion. We don't get the role of religion in people's lives. And I think we can do much, much better. And I think there are things that we can be more creative about to understand the country.
Wow. Fox News religion analyst Father Jonathan Morris is here with what the paper should keep in mind next time. What did you make of that comment?
That's great honesty.
Yeah.
And I love to hear. I can't believe I'm hearing what I'm hearing. He also said, and it should be noted, that they do have a very good religion reporter. Lori Goodstein, I think, does a very good job. She's very factual. I don't think she's biased against religion. But one thing is to be reporting on the facts of religious, the religious phenomenon, right? This is what people do. Another thing is to understand the lived experience of God in somebody's life.
How did it affect this election?
Well, I think there were a lot of people praying, first of all, for a good outcome.
There were. I've talked to many people around the country that said they sat there the night of the election holding hands with each other, praying that whatever happened was the right thing for this country.
Yes, and I think another thing where the New York Times and other news organizations really missed it, they said, oh, no, religious people certainly can't be for this guy Donald Trump because he's done this, this, and this. Whereas I think a lot of people say, hey, God uses very imperfect instruments all the time. And therefore, maybe this is the best thing for the country, even though the instrument is very
That's a great
weak.
point. So an analysis of religion of the New York Times is very different than the lived experience of someone in, say, Middle America who feels like an imperfect vessel, as you said, could be the one that delivers America back to them. How do they recapture that understanding of how a lot of Americans see their faith?
Well, you have to invest resources, and you have to have invest resources not just to go report from as an outsider's point of view, but actually have people who might actually believe this crazy thing that 90% of Americans believe, and that is the existence of God.
Okay? Reporter.
And I'm not saying that the reporter does not.
Sure.
What I'm saying is it's a very different thing. Also to have opinions of people writing opinions in the New York Times who might be those crazy Midwesterners, those flyover states who believe that God is real and is providential in our lives.
Well, there's some other people who believe that climate change is real. And now the Catholic Church is getting involved in the climate change controversy. New guidelines issued to priests state that the members of the clergy should be promoters of and appropriate care for everything connected to the protection of creation. They're going to have to basically promote climate change, talk about climate change.
Breaking news. The Vatican believes in taking care of creation. That goes right back to Genesis. We were talking about this before. One thing is, I might not agree with the Pope or with another bishop or another priest or another Catholic on the specifics of, for example, the science of global warming. I may or may not. That's not the issue here. The issue is that we have to recognize that if the earth is not being taken care of, it affects us human beings, and it especially affects the poor.
But this goes further. I mean, this is in it. He talks about climate change. I mean, do people want to go to mass and hear about climate change? What feels like a political subject?
I will be speaking on it for a good 45 minutes in my homily today.
Oh, you will? What do you say?
Why does it have to be?
No, you're not.
Why does climate change?
No, I will not.
Why does climate change have to be political? I mean, that's a question I always wrestle with. Why? I mean,
well, why does it have to be political?
Right. Why does it turn political? Why does it have to be?
Exactly. If science tells us that climate change is affecting people's lives, okay? I'm not a scientist. I don't know exactly how it is or isn't. But if it is, and if it's especially affecting the poor, of course people of religion and all of us should be speaking out against what is causing it. And that's a whole other question, what is causing it? Whether it's earthquakes or whether it's using aerosol bottles, I'm not exactly sure.
Pollution from China.
But we do have to take care of creation.
That's bad over there.
Yeah.
Pollution.
I feel like you would handle that
Exactly.
subject well.
Father Jonathan Morris, always good to have you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Happy Sunday.